Paul Stockstead again at the mum.edu Recreation Center and our pickleball courts. And I want to explain the concept of apex, which is an important concept. It has to do with the height of the ball as it goes over the net. We have a tendency to think that the highest place, the apex of the shot, would be just over the net. And that's not actually true. And the reason is, if your shot, especially by the kitchen, is just over the net, it's going to go to the back of the kitchen where the ball is vulnerable to being volleyed. We want it to land in the front part of the kitchen. So our apex is actually a little bit before the net on the dink shot. In addition, we have an apex to consider when we're farther back. The apex farther back, the apex moves back and it's higher. So to illustrate this, both for the mid-court shot and the third shot drop, I'm going to show a device which we've improvised in order to give you a sense of the apex. That's set up on the other side of the court. Now, we have our net, and then right here at the no volley zone line, we have another net where we stuck some dowels in the ribbon. Now this ribbon is 6 feet high, and that's because this is the apex that your third shot drop should achieve in order to land in the kitchen. Why does this make sense? It makes sense because the kitchen is 7 feet long. Actually, the two kitchens together are 14 feet long. The baseline is 13 feet back. So you can see you got 13 feet going into 14 feet. If you hit halfway, your apex should be at the no volley zone line, just mathematically. So surprisingly, this is the height the ball should be when you're hitting your third shot drop. So I'm going to hit some of these. You can see this in action. Okay, so that's an example of a third shot drop with good height, coming down hopefully in the front part of the kitchen, which we'll talk about in another video called the sink. Now I want to show you what happens as you move closer to the net, the apex goes lower. This improvised device as we move our shot halfway to the no volley zone line, the apex is lower. I'm going to suggest about here maybe. Should be able to land in the kitchen. So if I'm doing my fifth shot or something from here, my apex is lower. Now let's talk about the dink. The dink shot, right by the net. Probably right about there. So right here, I'm about a foot away, about a paddle's length away from the actual net. I've got my teaching device about a paddle's height over the net. So this is my apex, about this high, maybe a little higher, in order to drop the ball down into the front part of the kitchen. This is not my apex straight over the net, because if I'm here and I hit a ball that achieves its apex right at the net, my ball mathematically is going to fall in the back part of the kitchen, where it's vulnerable to being volleyed if I'm slightly off. Instead, my apex is on this side. It should fall in the front part of the kitchen. So that's an example of a well-hit dink that doesn't go deep into the kitchen. It has height. What's the value of this height? The term in pickleball we're hearing is respect the net. If you try and hit just over the net, typically you have a 50% chance of being wrong. But if you use this height a little bit, not only do you tend to clear the net, it tends to fall down in the front part of the kitchen, which I call the sink. So that's the idea of apex at very different places on the court. So you can think of adjusting your shot so it falls more into the front part of the kitchen. Thank you.